Hey guys, this is Comic Now, and finally I'm doing a review for Deadpool. So, I was able to see it on Saturday. I know a lot of you guys saw it Thursday night, but I saw it Saturday. And I did do a review right away, so let's get started and talk about this movie. Now, of course, with my movie reviews, I usually do a non-spoiler portion and then a spoiler portion, so I will warn you guys once the spoilers come. So, what is this movie about? If you guys don't know the origins of Deadpool and if you haven't seen the trailers, it's about this guy who has definitely a good sense of humor and a little bit of some profanity sense of humor. He has cancer, and, you know, he goes through some stuff to try to cure that cancer, and that ends up making him become Deadpool, and that's kind of what the movie's about without spoiling the rest of the plot. So what do I think of Deadpool overall? What I want to see in a Deadpool movie is obviously breaking the fourth wall, some good comedy, and I really got that here. I was laughing a lot throughout the movie. Now, I probably don't have to warn you guys because you've heard it 1,000 times already, but if you haven't, you know, the movie's not for everybody. If you don't like profound language or, you know, sexual innuendos, there's a ton in this movie, but that's Deadpool. That's what you're really, you know, getting into the movie, which I don't get why people wanted to make this PG-13, because you probably couldn't even make 5 minutes of this movie PG-13. You can definitely not have that version without making the movie all over again. But yeah, so going into it, this was fun, and it was action-packed, and honestly, the action was gorgeous for this movie. I liked the slow-mo shots. I thought it worked. Even the way they used some camera angles, like there's a beginning shot where they utilize bullets because Deadpool doesn't have a lot of bullets in his gun, so they count the bullets, and you get to see some interesting slow-mo shots with that. There's a shot where he's healing, and you see the guy coming from his arm that had a bullet shot. So there's some really, really cool camera angles and cinematography in this movie, actually, and also is utilized with the humor of the movie. So the action and comedy were great for this film. And also something I really applaud the film for is making it interesting, not just main character, but supporting characters. And, you know, characters you would never expect to be in this movie, like the cab driver is important, or, you know, I don't want to spoil the rest of some of the movie, but there's other supporting characters that are important in this movie. So, I really like the supporting cast as much as I did, Deadpool himself. Now, how was Deadpool himself? How was Ryan Reynolds in this role? Great. I would not want to pick another actor. He's kind of like Hugh Jackman for Wolverine. You don't see anyone else be Wolverine, or Robert Downey Jr. for Iron Man. I see Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. He hit really every joke in this movie, but also there's some good emotional stuff in this movie that obviously they do play on with comedy, because that is kind of Deadpool's character, that he's gone through a lot, but he uses comedy to kind of go through it, and they really utilize that well in this movie. So what did I think overall? There are some plot things that I thought could have been a little bit better. I will say the villain could have been a little better. Like, I think they made him humorous, and I like that aspect, and it connects to his origin story, so that totally made sense, but I kind of wanted more from him, so I guess that was a little bit of a negative. It made the final battle go on for a bit too long, and that's the second negative, is that the final battle was actually a bit too long, and there were parts that felt the pacing could have been a little better and shorter at aspects, like telling his origin story. It wasn't the whole movie, but a large chunk of it was, and I think they could have cut that down, and there are some characters that are in the final battle that I don't necessarily think needed to be in the final battle, even though it was kind of cool to see. Story-wise, it actually made things worse. So, those are kind of the negatives towards the movie. But overall, this was such a fun movie, and really, one of the best superhero movies I've seen in a really long time, because for me personally, I like superhero movies that concentrate on one character, because I like character journeys more than like, oh my god, here's the big plot, where we see a lot with superhero movies. So it's kind of cool to see this one guy's journey, and again, see Ryan Reynolds portray that, and see some really interesting characters. So yeah, I gave Deadpool 4 4.25 stars. Now, it was very close to 4.5 stars, but like I said, there were some problems, and I think if I watched it a second time, those problems would, you know, present itself a bit more. So, but as a first viewing, I laughed so much in this movie, and it really was a gorgeous looking movie too. And it felt like a different type of superhero movie, which is great, because this wasn't really a superhero movie. It was, you know, a super movie, like they kind of stated in the movie. So now, going into spoilers of this movie. So if you guys have not seen the film, I warn you, there are spoilers here. So the part I was talking about in the end of the movie, the characters I liked seeing and were fun to see, that I don't necessarily think needed as much screen time as they had, was Colossus, and I forget the kid's name, but it is a very long name. I don't necessarily think they needed to be in the movie so much. And I'm a Colossus fan, and I would, you know, would like to see Kitty, because she's very connected to that character. But, in the end of the movie, I felt like their fight scenes kind of prolonged the whole final battle, which I'm like, alright, kind of get back to, you know, the other part. So that part I didn't love. Now, another character I want to talk about is obviously the girlfriend, Vanessa. Now, Vanessa in the comics is actually a shapeshifter villain, and they obviously did not do that with this movie just yet. But I really liked her character, because even though they played her as a damsel in distress in this movie, they kind of play on the damsel in distress trope in a lot of ways. Like, she kind of was the one who destroyed the villain in the end, because she was in that damsel in distress role. Also, she's kind of like the female version of Deadpool, which was a lot of fun, and even though she did play in the damsel in distress role, she wasn't two-dimensional. She definitely had a character, and that's something that I think is very important with this type of movie, and, you know, with kind of the female love interest. I think they kind of played with the trope, and I like that. Again, she wasn't perfect, but I think we'll definitely see more with her in a second movie, because it seems like maybe the chamber that she was in probably heightened her mutant powers, and we'll learn maybe that she is a shapeshifter in the next movie, which we know is happening. So I would really like to see that. What else, spoiler-wise? Ending credit was really, really fun. It was pretty much Deadpool saying, hey, we couldn't really afford an ending credit, so here is, you know, us saying that Cable will be in the next movie, which is great, because Cable is definitely a hero that works with Deadpool a lot and had a series with Deadpool. So really excited about that, and the time travel aspect, and I guess the Cyclops aspect of that too. Another thing I really applaud this movie with, that I guess goes into the spoiler zone, is how they transition the X-Men franchise with the Deadpool franchise, even though they're kind of the same. I really liked how it seems so seamless to transition to go to Xavier School. You know, a lot of times in the MCU, a lot of the crossovers seem forced, because it kind of is forced. Like, oh look, Captain America is in this Thor movie. Here, it actually felt like the comic book universe, where Deadpool is just knocking on the door of the X-Men, of the Xavier School, and, you know, Deadpool making jokes is like, why are there only 2 of you guys? You know, this is a mansion. Shouldn't there be more heroes? It's like, oh wait, this is all we could afford. So, I really like that, and I think this was actually, like, in a weird way, one of the X-Men movies that felt similar to the comic books, where, you know, the current X-Men movies, as much as I like them, don't really, they're not as similar to the comic books. But this actually felt like the pages of the comic. Not just the Deadpool scenes, but, you know, again, the transition to going into the X-Men, and having, like, a younger X-Men with Colossus, and having Colossus in general. So I really enjoyed that. And I think that's all the real spoiler talk that I wanted to say. So overall, like I said, it's a really fun movie. There's times where the movie lags a little, but it's beautiful, it's funny, and if you're a Deadpool fan, I think you could really appreciate this movie, and I had a blast with it. So that's my opinion. Guys, if you want to hear more about Deadpool, we are going to be doing a Media Madness for it on Comic Frontline Wednesday at 10:30 with our Geek Avengers cruise. So Black Critic Guy, Joe from Agree to Disagree, Rob from Other Robert, and Mike from Real School, and of course me and Jay, and we're going to talk all things Deadpool. So we're really excited about that and have the gang back. So, definitely check that out. And this is Comic You Know. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also in the description below, there's links for my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. And don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. I'll see you guys later. Bye.